Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 256 based on novel. So let's start. The spaceship emitted a sound of high-speed movement. Since the three of Xiao Yan entered the spaceship, the outside of the spaceship was wrapped by a burst of silver light. With the help of the package of silver light, the power of space in the space teleportation formation suppressed and threatened the three of them. Turned out to be lowered to the lowest level, which gave Xiao Yang a new understanding of spaceships. On the deck of the spaceship, Xiao Yang stood here, looking through the silver light that enveloped the spaceship, looking into the void, not knowing what to think. You haven't rested yet? After a while, a shadowy figure walked out slowly, with a very low voice, for fear of disturbing others. It's swiftly. Xiao Yang heard the words, turned his head slightly, and saw the rain. At this time, Yuran changed into a blue ruffle skirt. Her graceful body and exquisite lines were quite beautiful. It's so late and you still can't sleep, what are you thinking? Yuran came to the deck slightly and smiled. It's nothing, it's just some personal matters. Xiao Yang slowly shook his head after hearing this. Now the strength is tyrannical, but Mu Yingying's resurrection, the healing of the Lord of Soul Eater, plus the 100-year agreement between the guardians of the Xiao clan, the search for Zuna, and even the secrets and disappearances of the Xiao clan, clan lines, etc. A series of events suddenly flooded into Xiao Yang's heart in the dead of night, which made Xiao Yang a little worried for a while. I can see that you are not from the ghost realm, but from the other 7 realms. Yuran's beautiful eyes stared at the void and said, "Oh." Xiao Yang couldn't help being surprised when Yuran said so. Don't be surprised, these are just some of my little skills. And we, Yuzong, are not from the ghost world. It's just that there is no place for us to live in the human world, so we have to come to the ghost world. Yuran said. In the ghost world, although most of them are lonely ghosts and wild ghosts, fortunately, there are rules in the ghost world, so we are human beings, and ordinary people can't detect it. Yuran Zaidu said. My father once told me that simplicity is very happy, and happiness is very simple. I hope it helps you. It's getting late, rest early, we're going to Dongju soon. Yuran said a big push to herself, and then left slowly without waiting for Xiao Yang to speak. What should come will always come. Yuran's seemingly casual words brought Xiao Yang an extremely tyrannical feeling. Xiao Yang heard the words and was silent for a while, then slowly opened his mouth and went down to practice. Xiao Yang has been condensing his spiritual palace and fighting core, and his soul power and fighting spirit are also becoming more and more solid, so this month has passed quickly. It stands to reason that we should have arrived in Dongju today. Why hasn't there been any movement yet? On this day, Xiao Yang sat on the bed and opened his eyes slightly. Crash. Just when Xiao Yang was puzzled, an extremely terrifying energy ripple slowly radiated from the spaceship. What happened? Xiao Yang felt such violent energy ripples, and couldn't help coming directly to the deck of the spaceship. Dongju, it's here. Xiao Yang had just arrived on the deck, but he saw the 2 sisters of the Yu family slowly standing on the deck. Among them, Yuran's jade hand was gently raised, facing a pure white in front of him. Light mouth pointed. Finally, is it here? Xiao Yang was relieved when he saw this. Through that light mouth, the dazzling aura of heaven and earth seemed to be more intense, and then a frenzy slowly emerged. Weiya, control the direction of the spaceship and drive directly out of the space channel. This is already Dongju's territory. If we don't stop, I'm afraid they will be mistaken for the enemy who invaded the territory. The next moment, Yuran said slightly. Yu Wei heard the words, a silver light slowly radiated from her body, and then injected into the spaceship. With the injection of this power, the speed of the spaceship slowed down, and finally it slowly walked towards the light port. Boom! With a loud noise, the hull of the space shrunk actively and quickly, and then turned into a silver scroll, and returned to Yu Wei's hands. At this moment, they also came to the entrance to Dongju. Just fly out. Our Yecheng space channel and the space channel in Dongju are interconnected, so don't worry about the others. Yuran and the 3 stood in the space channel, looking at the space exit in front of them, said, "Let's go." Xiao Yang nodded lightly, then his speed increased sharply, and he went straight to him. Just came out through the exit of the passage, and suddenly bursts of dazzling light blinded the 3 of them temporarily, but the 3 of them could clearly feel that the power of space had completely disappeared, replaced by a burst of light. The extremely rich spiritual energy of heaven and earth, obviously they have left the space channel. Is this Dongju? After a while, Xiao Yang regained his vision first with his powerful soul power, then looked at the scene in front of him and lost his voice. The three of Xiao Yang stood in mid-air, and at their feet was a circular altar that was hundreds of meters in size. And this circular altar with a size of several hundred meters stands at the top of a mountain range, surrounded by extremely obscure and mysterious huge runes, appearing in Xiao Yang's sight. A space formation. Xiao Yang smiled slightly when he saw this. The space formation in the altar below was obviously connected to Yeqing's space formation. He, the old man Mo Yu, is the leader of this space formation. You are also the powerhouses who came to participate in the Eastern Continent competition, right? Just when Xiao Yang and the three were at a loss below the altar, an old man wearing a yellow robe, the voice came out slowly. Mo Yu. Samsung fighting immortal early stage. But this voice alone made Xiao Yang feel terrified. If it is said that Yi Yunqing from Kuyashai and Mo Yu are the same strength in the early stage of the three-star fighting immortals, but according to Xiao Yang's guess, I am afraid that Yi Yunqing, in the hands of this yellow-robed old man, will not be able to take a single move. The powerhouses above Eastern Continent are far more tyrannical than those in Yeqing in terms of strength and quality. Master Mo Yu, in Xia Yeqing Yu Ran, my father has always mentioned you. On the other side, Yu Ran smiled slightly and smiled at the old man in yellow robe below. Looking at the appearance, obviously there is some relationship. How is Sect Master Yu recently? The yellow-robed old man Mo Yu smiled slightly when he heard the words. The Sect Master is okay. It's just that the sect has been busy recently, otherwise my father will definitely come in person. Yu Ran said with a smile. In the early stage of the two-star Dozyan, and the late stage of the two-star Dozyan, it seems that this time, Yuzong came prepared. The old man in yellow robe smiled. The three of you, come down, follow me to register the competition information, and then we, Dongju, will have our own accommodation arrangements for the three of you, and in 1 month, it will be the time when the competition of Dongju really begins. The old man in yellow robe said. Then there is Lord Laro Moryu. Yu Ran thanked him gently, and the three of them landed instantly, followed Mo Yu down the mountain, and went to the place where the test was registered. Is this little brother looking straight? On the way down the mountain with the three of them, the old man in yellow robe naturally noticed Yue's peeking at Xiao Yang. In addition, with his own strength, even if facing Xiao Yang, he also had a strange feeling, so he couldn't help but ask. Mo Yu and Yu Zong can be regarded as good friends. Otherwise, based on the strength of these three people, it is not worth him to take him to register the information. Mr. Mo, his name is Xiao Yang, he is a pharmacist just recruited by our Yu sect, and this time he also came with us to participate in the East Continent ratio. Yu Ran skillfully resolved Mo Yu's problem. Xiao Yang, is it a pharmacist? Mo Yu frowned when she heard the words. Obviously, this kind of occupation can be regarded as a godlike existence in the ghost world, because there are too few. Xiao Yang also felt the same way. After all, in Yeqing and Ghost King City, there are probably not 10 pharmacists combined, and even some are only entry-level pharmacists, and they are all treated seriously. Xiao Yang also sensed Mo Yu's enthusiasm and hurriedly smiled at him. By the way, what's the situation in Dongju? Xiao Yang nodded lightly, and then asked. Obviously he didn't know anything about Dongju. It will take a while to go down the mountain, let me tell you. Yu Ran just wanted to speak, but Mo Yu smiled. As an alchemist, Xiao Yang deserves to be treated with respect no matter what level he is, so Mo Yu said impatiently, otherwise, Mo Yu would not care if it were someone else. It's time to work. Xiao Yang smiled, and then listened intently as he walked. The place where we are now is an extremely huge continent under Li Han territory, Yinhan Tian. Yinhunshan is bounded by the center of the 4 continents, and several vehicles are divided into 4 equal parts, which are divided into 4 continents, which are divided into 4 continents, southeast, northwest, and 4 continents. Ranked 3rd. And here we are, the easternmost part of Yinhunshan, which outsiders call Dongju. Mo Yu said with a smile. Dongju? Xiao Yang murmured slightly when he heard the words. Obviously Xiao Yang knew the news long ago, but he was not very clear about some of the forces in Dongju and others. Above East Continent, the strengths of all sizes are intricate, but there is only one power that dominates the entire East Continent. Mo Yu Zaidu said. Oh. Xiao Yang heard the words and immediately turned to look at Mo Yu, a little curious. The territory of this East Continent is undoubtedly several times larger than that of the Shenling Continent, and the purity of the spiritual energy of the world and the number of strong people are much more tyrannical than Zhuangtianshan. Such a vast land is actually completely ruled by one force. This is surprising. Forging knife Thunder Valley. Mo Yu looked at Xiao Yang curiously and said, Thunder Valley of Forged Knife. Xiao Yang muttered again, still not knowing what this so-called Thunder Valley of Forged Knife was, but his intuition told Xiao Yang that it was probably related to weapons. On the entire eastern continent, countless forces fought openly and secretly, but they were all suppressed by the Thunder Valley of the Forged Sword. From this, it is enough to explain the strength and heritage of the Thunder Valley of the Forged Sword. Mo Yu said, What is the strength of this sword-forging Thunder Valley? Xiao Yang was shocked but couldn't help but ask. The strength of the Forged Blade Thunder Valley, whether it is a single valley owner or its overall strength, is well deserved in the entire eastern continent. Mo Yu said slowly, just saying that the Forged Blade Thunder Valley owners at that time, a burst of respect clearly appeared in his pupils. As for other forces, although there are quite a few tyrannical ones, they are nothing compared to the Thunder Valley of Forging Swords. And the Forging Knife Thunder Valley, the reason why it can stand as the first hegemon in Dongju is that their valley owner is not only a strong and powerful man, but also controls the skill of casting, a skill that is ingenious. A well-deserved caster. As a result, countless magical weapons have been cast, which has attracted a large number of strong people who are willing to serve in the Valley of the Thunder Sword. Mo Yu said, It seems that this sword-forging Thunder Valley is indeed a bit tyrannical. Xiao Yang also nodded slowly, because although he was not a craftsman, he also knew that forging magical weapons was not an easy task. And this time, the organizer of the East Continent ratio is based on the Thunder Valley of Forging Knives. It is said that the test place is the Thunder Realm in the Thunder Valley. The so-called realm is a special space opened up by 4-star fighting immortals. Although it is not as good as the space formation, it is more stable and can be used for habitation and competition. After you have completed the registration, your place of residence will also be in the Thunder Realm. Mo Yu continued to laugh without being displeased by Xiao Yang's ignorance. If that's the case, then let's go. Xiao Yang nodded slowly after listening. This information alone is enough. There are extremely tyrannical restrictions in the mountains, and you can only walk on foot, but there is still a long way to go from here to Lei Cheng. Mo Yu took the three to the bottom of the mountain and said slightly, This. Yu Ranrant's two daughters also looked at each other and hesitated. Come up. The next moment, Mo Yu crushed a scroll in his hand, and then an eagle glided out of the sky. Because of the extremely fast speed, it brought with it an extremely tyrannical impact force, which made Xiao Yang and the three of them couldn't help but look a little ugly. Let's go. The eagle is obviously a flying soul beast, with a huge size and quite obedient. Seeing the four figures return directly to its back, Mo Yu patted its forehead and spoke slightly. The eagle made a strange sound, and then the speed skyrocketed, and directly led the four towards Lei Cheng, but left the mountain range, although the heaven and earth here are rich in spiritual tilde, but how can it be? The fog was so thick that Xiao Yang didn't find anything else. Thunder City. This is the largest city on the entire eastern continent. The entire city is nearly 20 miles in diameter. In Thunder City, the Alchemist Association, the Mercenary Union, the Makers Association, the Herbal Medicine Pavilion, the Auction House, etc. are all available. And every time the East Continent ratio begins, Lei Cheng will also become the most lively place on the entire East Continent. Lei Cheng is a huge city inhabited outside the Thunder Valley of Forged Knives. Very few people know about the specific location of the hegemonic force of Thunder Valley of Forged Knives, or even the entire Eastern Continent, but it is said that it is hidden in Lei Cheng. There is a hidden place surrounded by clouds and mist, and as for the real Thunder World, there is no doubt that it also exists in the Thunder Valley of Forging Knives. Many geniuses gathered in Lei Cheng from countless places in the East Continent, and through registration in Lei Cheng, the people in the Thunderforging Knife Valley could organize and separate teams and bring them into Legia to decide the real winner. This is Lei Cheng. It's really a huge handwriting. The four of Xiao Yang, led by the flying soul beast, directly floated in the air and went towards Lei Cheng, but the basic outline of Lei Cheng was reflected in Xiao Yang's line of sight. Yang suddenly couldn't help but speak. What caught Xiao Yang's eyes was a huge city surrounded by countless thunderbolts. The city stretched for dozens of miles. Its area was the size of 10 Xianling royal families, which made Xiao Yang feel dizzy. Dizzy feeling. What a terrifying Thunder City. Xiao Yang and the four took the flying soul beast to several kilometers away from Thunder City. With the help of Thunder City, which was surrounded by thunder and smoky, Yu Wei couldn't help exclaiming. This is Lei Cheng. There is still a month before the official competition starts. After registering the information in a while, you can stroll around Lei Cheng by yourself. Lei Cheng is heavily guarded and has a very high safety factor. You can buy any medicines or weapons in Lei Cheng. Enough to enhance your strength, of course. The premise is that you have enough money. Mo Yu said with a smile. Yes. The three of Xiao Yang nodded slowly. Obviously they were looking forward to the ratio of Dongju this time. Let's go, old man, enter the city. In the next moment, a gentle force emerged from Mo Yu's body, and immediately headed towards Lei Cheng below. With a sound, the flying soul beast slowly descended into the Thunder City directly through the power of thunder. Lord Mo Yu, why did you come here in person? The place where Xiao Yang and his group of flying spirit beasts descended was a huge square specially designed for flying spirit beasts to inhabit. A man spoke up. The man had a smile on his face, and his breath was not weak. The silver robe on his body seemed to faintly exude a strange power of thunder, and even on the shoulders, a conspicuous thunder word appeared slowly. These few people have a relationship with me, and I happened to be bored in the teleportation mountain range, so I came here. Mo Yu said with a smile. Duan Yu heard the words, but his pupils turned quickly, because they knew Mo Yu's temper, and it was enough to show that the two had a good relationship. Aren't you someone from Thunder Valley? Xiao Yang noticed something just by looking at it. The man in front of him had the word thunder embroidered on his body, and a looming power of thunder was slowly exuding. He must be the overlord of Dongju, the person who forged the Thunder Valley. Three friends, Juyu Yu, the people of Lei Cheng City Lord's Mansion, are responsible for attracting contestants to sign up today. The man Duyu said. Lei Cheng City Lord's Mansion. Xiao Yang said with a slight smile, there is no doubt that this Lei Cheng City Lord's Mansion is impressively the branch of Forge Sword Thunder Valley in Lei City. This time, it's time to work. Mo Yu didn't talk too much, because he knew that with the help of Du Yu's identity, they could save them a lot of trouble. Master Mo Yu and a few friends, please come with me. There are dozens of registration points for this competition. It just so happens that I'm going back to the City Lord's Mansion. I'll take you there to register. Du Yu said. Let's go. Hearing this, Mo Yu said to the people behind Wei Wei. After all, everyone also went to the City Lord's Mansion. When passing through other places in Lei Cheng, Xiao Yang couldn't help feeling dizzy when looking at the dark registration teams in other places. With so many applicants, I am afraid that just one registration point is enough to rank in the queue. Team for a few days. Don't worry, a few friends. The registration site of the City Lord's Mansion has the smallest number of people among all the registration sites, because entering the City Lord registration requires a minimum condition. Duan Yu noticed the concerns of the other people and said, what conditions? This time, Ran said. The strength must be above the 1-star fighting immortal. There are no restrictions on other registration points. As long as we are from Dongju, you can register. Only the registration of the City Lord's Mansion is stricter. Duan Yu said with a smile. 1 star to fight immortals. Xiao Yang muttered. It's here. After a while, everyone slowly came to the City Lord's Mansion, and they were shocked by the 3 large silver characters on the gate of the City Lord's Mansion. These 3 big silver characters seem to hide other powers, which makes them have to be solemn. Let's go. As soon as he finished speaking, Du Yu stepped directly into it and took everyone to the registration office. Hehe, young master, he is really a hero. At such a young age, his strength has reached the late stage of 1-star fighting immortals, which is really surprising. Where is there? Fang is just a good teacher from my father. My father said that this time the Dongju ratio will definitely give me the victory. That's that. However, the registrant of the City Lord's Mansion has a really weird temper. Du Yu took the 4 people to the City Lord's Mansion to register, but the area of the City Lord's Mansion exceeded Xiao Yang's imagination, so in the process of going all the way, it was also the figure who saw the registration finished talking in a low voice. Arrive. In this room is the elder Jufeng, who is in charge of the registration of the City Lord's Mansion. Duan Yu said slowly, but when he said Jufeng, his face was a little ugly. As soon as Du Yu finished speaking, Xiao Yang immediately cast his gaze towards the room in front of him. He saw that the room was extremely large and the wooden door was slightly opened, but it was quite quiet at this time, and no one was registering information. It's actually the old guy Duan Feng. Mo Yu shook her head slightly when she heard the words. Obviously, the two of them were old acquaintances. Lord Mo Yu, I believe you also know the temper of Elder Jufeng, and it is still during the registration period, so please move to the living room. When the registration of the 3 friends is completed, I will notify you as soon as possible. Du Yu said. En. Mo, you didn't want to embarrass, do you? Slightly murmured. Come on, take Mr. Mo Yu to the hall to sit for a while. Du Yu's voice just fell, and a beautiful maid walked out from not far away, and took Mo Yu down generously. 3 friends, let's go. During all this last night, Du Yu also smiled at the 3 of them. Du Yu's identity is not low in the City Lord's mansion, but he is allowed to see countless strange women, but after seeing the sisters Yu Ran, he also has a kind of joyful mood. Obviously the appearance of these 2 women, no matter in any respect, it was considered excellent, but fortunately, Du Yu was not an animal who thought with his lower body, and would not do stupid things. Elder Dufeng, I brought a few friends of Lord Mo Yu to sign up for the information. Duan Yu brought the 3 to the front of the house, and then tapped lightly on the open wooden door. Mo Yu's person. Come in. As Duan Yu's voice just fell, a lazy voice slowly came out from the wooden house, but Xiao Yang, with his huge soul power, suddenly found that when he heard the word Mo Yu, that the vindictiveness of the figures in the wooden house clearly showed a slight change. But it was just such a sentence, but it contained some rather peculiar power. It turned out to be the figures of Xiao Yang and the 3 of them, standing slowly on the spot without the slightest turbulence. This old guy. Seeing this, Xiao Yang's dazzling soul force suddenly mobilized, and then the coercion was removed in an instant. Oh, it's kind of interesting. Finally, there are some interesting little guys here. Seemingly sensing Xiao Yang's drastic change in his soul power, the figure in the wooden house couldn't help but let out an exclamation. Let's go. Duan Yu also noticed Xiao Yang's dazzling soul power, and said slightly. This Mo Yu and Du Feng have a good relationship, but the 2 have been fighting endlessly, so the 2 are facing each other in many places. Just now, the elder Du Feng knew that these 3 guys were brought over by Mo Yu, and couldn't help it. Made some small moves. Du Feng is a 3-star fighting immortal level strength. He just used the pressure of his own 3-star fighting immortal. He originally wanted to give Xiao Yang and the 3 of them a disgrace, but he was eliminated by Xiao Yang's soul power. Come in. Du Feng said slightly, but this time it was extremely calm and nothing happened. I'll go down first. Hearing Duan Feng speak, Duan Yu didn't stay too long, and then retreated. What should we do now? Yue couldn't help but ask. Obviously the pressure just now, if it wasn't for Xiao Yang, I'm afraid they would have already fallen down. Let's go. Xiao Yang laughed, then took the lead and walked towards the wooden house. The other 2 women also followed after seeing this. As soon as they entered the wooden house, the quaint sandalwood scented their nostrils, which actually calmed their minds. At this time, a white-haired old man slowly stood up in the wooden house. In front of him, some people used to register registration information. Pen and paper, and even a crystal ball of excellent quality. Junior Yecheng Yuzong has seen the elder Dufeng before. Junior Yi Cheng Yue, I have seen elder Dufeng. Junior Xiao Yang, I have seen elder Dufeng. The 3 of Xiao Yang said one after another. Hey, boy, it's you who just cleared my Doqi coercion? Duan Feng looked like a disrespectful old man, his figure flashed like a ghost, and he came to Xiao Yang's side and spoke in a low voice. Junior is just a fluke. Xiao Yang couldn't help but say that the strength of this forging wind is too tyrannical. According to Xiao Yang's guess, this guy's strength is probably stronger than Mo Yu. Hey, don't hide it, you kid. The soul power you just created to resist my vindictive pressure is a little different. Duan Feng said with a smile on his face, with his smart eyes. Even Xiao Yang, just a moment of releasing the power of the soul, it is also aware of something. Lord Dufeng, the 3 of us are here to register the ratio of Dongju. Yu Ran also couldn't understand why Dufeng was holding on to Xiao Yang and hurriedly spoke. Hihi, 2 nice little girls, not bad. Looking at Yu Ran's mouth, Dufeng was not forcing Xiao Yang. Then come one by one. Professional strength of life, report it to me so that I can register. Duan Feng saw that Xiao Yang didn't do anything else, and returned to his desk slightly. Junior Yue, 1-star fighting immortal is complete, and there is no occupation yet. Yue said softly. Okay, the information has been registered. There is one more step. Enter your fighting spirit into this crystal ball. We also have a division of strength. Du Feng picked up the ink pen and wrote some handwriting on the registration white paper, then immediately Du Feng waved his palm lightly, and the crystal ball on the desk flew towards Yue. En. Hearing this, Yue glanced at Xiao Yang and her sister, and then gently lifted the crystal ball with her palm. Relax, calm down, you only need to inject the Do Qi into your Do core. Duan Feng said, but he still had expectations for Xiao Yang. Du Feng's voice just fell, and suddenly a cyan light burst out from Yuei's body. With the emergence of this cyan light, the crystal ball suddenly glowed with a strong glow, lighting up Yue's body. 5. After a while, as the light dissipated, a vague word appeared on the crystal ball. Level 5, not bad, not bad. Du Feng was not too surprised when he saw this. After all, Yue's strength is not as strong as that of a 2-star fighting fairy, so it is reasonable to be rated at level 5. Senior, what is this? Yu Ran asked out loud, wondering what Du Feng meant by the 5th level. Haha. The ratio of Dongju is very important, and it is not necessary for people from Dongju. After simple registration information, it is necessary to test its strength. The test tool is this crystal ball. This crystal ball was cast by our master of the Thunder Valley, which can undoubtedly test the tyranny and purity of a person's fighting spirit. From low to high, there are a total of 10 grades. However, the 10th level, from ancient times to the present, is only achieved by the owner of the valley. Du Feng said. Level 5. Yu Wei looked at the numbers on the crystal ball in her hand and fell into deep thought. Miss Rain, ordinary people's fighting chi energy after condensing Doha can only be rated as level 3. You can be rated as level 5, which is quite excellent. Du Feng laughed. Yeah. Yu Wei didn't feel anything was wrong and nodded lightly. I'll come next. Yu Ran, 2-star fighting immortal late stage. Yu Ran said with a slight smile. 2-star Doshin late stage? Du Feng heard the words, although he knew that this guy's strength was good, but he was still shocked. There is no doubt that those who can reach the 2-star Do's Yan at this age are undoubtedly not the best in the entire Eastern continent. 2-star Do immortal late stage. Xiao Yang nodded slightly when he heard the words. In Yecheng, their Yuzhong forces are quite tyrannical, and their suzerain is a powerhouse in the late Samsung Do's Yan. Even though this is only a level difference, the difference is not even a little bit. After all, humans on the upper plane are born with the basic strength of Do Sheng and above, and do not need to cultivate from Do Qi like Xiao Yang, so the difference in strength between the parents and children of a family will also be affected by the shrink a lot. After all, the level of Do's Yan can reach various levels, and it has nothing to do with the innate talent at birth. After a while, the crystal ball in Yu Ran's hand slowly emitted a dazzling energy, and then a conspicuous 8 stood in it. Sister, you are so amazing. Yu Wei said happily from the bottom of her heart when she saw this. They are sisters, they are not very different in age, but their strengths are very different, which is largely due to talent. Do's Yan's cultivation is very difficult. If ordinary people don't have enough opportunities, it may take hundreds of years and thousands of years, and it is difficult to improve 1 point. Not everyone is like Xiao Yang, who can rely on swallowing Sheng Yang to advance. Level 8. Seeing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help but feel a huge wave in his heart. Xiao Yang originally thought that Yu Ran's strength rating would be level 7, but how did he know it would be level 8? But thinking about it carefully, it is also true that when Yu Ran went to Duan Hundong to rescue Yu Ran with Yu Wei, Yu Ran was poisoned and did not take action, and she has never been seen to take action later, but she only vaguely knew her strength. Being able to evaluate it as level 8, Yu Ran must be a rather terrifying master. It's actually the 8th level? Du Feng, who was on the side, was quite surprised when he saw this. Senior has won the prize. After Yu Ran finished all this, she backed away slightly and handed the crystal ball into Smile's hands. And after the strength rating of the two was completed, the rest was Xiao Yang. Boy, it's your turn next, I hope you don't let me down. Du Feng registered all the information of the two girls, then turned his head and stared at Xiao Yang intently. Relying on Xiao Yang's use of soul power to clear his own domineering pressure just now, Du Feng vaguely guessed that this guy was probably a pharmacist, and his rank was probably not low. In the entire ghost world, pharmacists are too rare, so it has caused the ghost world to protect the pharmacist profession with many protections and some convenient means, and Dongju is no exception, even because the sword-forging Thunder Valley deals with weapons and lightning all the year round. Contaminated with a lot of thunder and lightning, only some of the medicinal pills of high-level pharmacists can be expelled, so if a pharmacist is a pharmacist, whether it is in Lei Cheng or in the Thunder Valley, it is very welcome. Junior Xiao Yang, in the early stage of 2-star Do's Yan. Xiao Yang said with a smile. What about your occupation? Du Feng said in a calm manner on the surface, but he was extremely nervous inside. This registration has been going on for several months, but after so much time, the number of people who signed up for all the bases has exceeded 10,000, but the number of alchemists is only one-handed. Occupation? If you are a professional, let's refine a pharmacist. Xiao Yang thought about it and said, is it really a pharmacist? After Xiao Yang said this, Du and Feng's eyes lit up. What kind of rank? Du Fengzidu asked at the next moment. Senior, this registration information is too detailed, isn't it? Xiao Yang obviously sensed something and said with a sly smile. Registering ordinary people is naturally a normal method, but if you register some monsters, you will naturally use extraordinary methods. Du Feng said. Emperor rank 3rd grade pharmacist. Xiao Yang said softly. Xiao Yang's current soul power has completely reached the Fairyland, and he has condensed the spiritual palace. The medicine refining technology has already entered the 4th stage of the fairy rank. It is a pity that Xiao Yang has never refined medicine pills, so he is not clear about his own refining. What is the level of medicine technology? What? Du Feng heard the words, his face stunned. Don't underestimate the 3rd grade imperial pharmacist, this is the threshold for becoming the 4th grade immortal. And in any power, if there is a 3rd grade emperor rank pharmacist, his status will undoubtedly rise, and even his power will help him advance to the immortal rank pharmacist at all costs. In the early stage of the 2-star Dozian, is the emperor rank 3rd grade medicine refining. Du and Feng muttered slightly. This guy. Yu Wei, who was on the side, couldn't help being a little surprised when she heard the words. Obviously, Xiao Yang's identity as an alchemist was enough for many strong people to take it seriously. Okay, let's go next. Let me see the purity of your Do Qi. After writing some basic information, the crystal returned to Xiao Yang's hands, Du Feng said. Xiao Yang nodded lightly, and then lightly held the crystal ball with his palm. This crystal ball is made of a very special material. It seems to be guiding the Do Qi in my body. Xiao Yang had just held the crystal ball, and a commotion suddenly spread out slowly. Crash. After a while, a bright red light filled the huge study room, and an extremely hot breath slowly emerged from the study room. It's such a tyrannical fluctuation of fighting qi, I'm afraid it can be rated at the 9th level just for this purity. Du Feng couldn't help laughing when he saw this. In fact, the ratio of East Continent is only to select the geniuses above East Continent, so as to participate in the 4 Continents contest. If the Great Master of Li Huanyu on the 4 Continents contest is favored and accepted as a disciple, it will undoubtedly brighten East Continent. And this Do Qi purity level test is actually unnecessary. This thing is useless for the competition at all. The reason why Forge Knife Thunder Valley joins this test is for some things in the valley. It's not over yet. Stop for me. Xiao Yang also noticed this scene and prepared to stop with satisfaction. After all, the purity of Do Qi had already reached the 9th level at this time, which was enough. Wang Om. The entire study was filled with an extremely tyrannical red flame, and the crystal ball was also filled with a red light, but it didn't mean to stop, it turned out to be directly facing Xiao Yang's body. Going to the place of Sheng Yang, looking at this appearance, it is clear that he wants to mobilize the power of Sheng Yang. Damn, stop for me. Seeing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help being shocked, and hurriedly used his dazzling soul power to stop it, but to no avail. Bang bang bang. The next moment, the sound of a broken crystal ball resounded slowly. How is this possible? Du Feng and the others naturally did not notice that Xiao Yang's holy flame power was actually sucked out by the crystal ball, which caused the crystal to be unable to withstand the enormous power and shattered instantly. Broken. Yu Ran on the side couldn't help but shook her head gently. With her sharp eyes, she just saw clearly that on the crystal ball, although it was only 9 at first, but later, it was an instant. The time soared to 10, and within a breath of time after the cross appeared, the crystal ball was completely shattered. Ha ha ha. The next moment, Du Feng, whose face was full of disbelief, suddenly burst out laughing, and a sense of pleasure emerged. Senior, this is... The restlessness stopped after a while, and then Xiao Yang couldn't help asking. It's okay. I have already registered the information of the 3 of you. After 1 month, Lei Cheng will announce the specific matters and rules of the competition for the registration of Dongju ratio. In the next time, you should work hard to improve your strength. Come on, send 3 people to rest. After Du Feng finished speaking, he tightly held the blank sheet of paper where Xiao Yang's registration information was registered. The bottom line of the blank sheet of paper was impressively written, 10th level fire attribute Do Qi purity. Don't underestimate the word purity of heart. Take the Dragon Clan as an example. The Dragon Clan is undoubtedly the ancestor of the dragon-type beasts. Similar to the Taishu ancient dragon, at best, they are only high-level creatures with the blood of the Dragon Clan. Compared with the real Dragon Clan, they are nothing short of nothing. And the purity of Do Qi is the same. If one compares the Do Qi of ordinary people to being familiar with the third, then some forces are a little bit more tyrannical to be the fourth, the alchemist may be the fifth, but Xiao Yang, who has the holy flame, is 10. The degree of purity of Do Qi attributes determines the tyranny of Do Qi. This video will end here.